Hi guys, it's Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Marc Zicree of Space Command. I'm here today to talk about The Idiot Plot, the first little background. When I was 19 years old, I went to the Clarion Writers Workshop, which was the leading science fiction writing workshop in the country. Basically, 25 students would attend Michigan State University for 6 weeks in the summer. We'd live in the dormitories, and each week a different famous science fiction writer would come live with us in the dormitories. And they were very, very famous writers. It was Samuel R. Delany, Kate Wilhelm, Damon Knight, Gene Wolfe, Roger Zelazny, and Joe Haldeman. And they're all still very well-known science fiction writers. And some of the students even became very well-known. Kim Stanley Robinson was in my class, as was Robert Crace. And I attained a certain amount of notoriety. But Damon Knight was best known for his short story To Serve Man, which Rod Serling adapted into a very famous Twilight Zone episode. And Damon was also a novelist and wrote some other great short stories, but he was also a science fiction critic. And there are two things that he said that I thought were really great. One was his definition of science fiction, which was science fiction is what I'm pointing at when I say science fiction. And the other was he came up with something called the idiot plot. And basically the notion was the idiot plot is a story where the only way for the plot to work is for everyone to behave like an idiot. And of course you see this often in novels, TV shows, movies, and as writers we try not to commit that offense. We try not to fall afoul of that. And because as writers, working in genre particularly, we're always battling, we're always on that tightrope walk between what we've seen a million times before and what's fresh. But it can't be so fresh as to befuddle the audience or leave them totally in the dark. You want to at least give them some kind of clue, some kind of lifeline to a coherent story. On the other hand, if it's overly familiar, you fall into doing things that have been seen a million times before. But you can utilize elements for inspiration. You can utilize things as a jumping-off point. You should. So right now I'm rewriting the Space Command script to shoot in the next few weeks, and very shortly will be before the cameras. So I'm working with finding ways to make things fresh, finding ways to write dialogue I haven't seen a million times before. And I've also been watching some TV shows, The Strain, Extant, and True Detective, which was quite wonderful. But you always see the ways that they're trying to avoid falling into the idiot plot and not always succeeding. So, for instance, The Strain I like very much, but and certainly the vampires are wonderful with their tongues that extend like pythons and their strange biology. Many fresh things. Guillermo's worked out a very interesting new kind of monster. But one always is risking falling into, don't go into that dark room. Don't, oh my God, we're trapped by monsters all around us. And how do you find the fresh ways to do that? Extant I've been watching, and it has science fiction elements that are fun, and we've seen in films, such as AI, and a lot of the riffs are familiar. But I like Halle Berry. I just wish they wouldn't do things quite so casually in terms of what we've seen before. So, for instance, the robot child is certainly familiar from AI and a lot of other films, and they had 2 episodes running where each week she had a party thrown in her honor, one for coming back and one for her birthday. And again, those have to be back to back. Or the scene where the robot boy is abducted, and she goes. The mother and father split up to search. It's like, let's go into the dangerous dark woods, each of us alone, so Halle Berry can be abducted. And again, it's like, well, that's where it was so wonderful when my friend Mark Fergus, who wrote Children of Men and Iron Man, was talking about working on The Expanse and talking about working on the script and making it better and challenging himself and his writing team. And I very much applaud that. Even True Detective, which I thought was spectacular in many ways, and sort of skirts the genre because they reference The King in Yellow, which is a very strange fantasy novel that Guillermo del Toro first told me about, and I recommend it. It's very interesting and very strange. But even True Detective has that trope with, oh my God, there's the crazy killer, let's go into the darkness and search for him all alone, so terrible things can happen. And, it's so that, so in terms of the idiot plot, I'm very glad that Damon Knight coined the term, and it certainly serves as a cautionary notion for all of us who are writers. And we're all going to step on those landmines. We're all going to find ourselves writing things that might have seemed like a good idea at the time, and then when we look back, we go, oh my gosh, why did I come up with that? There's an episode of Sliders I wrote where I had to have a character thrown out of an airlock, and I just could not come up with a rationale for it. And we shot something, and it's okay-ish, but I mean the episode's great. I really love the episode. It's called Slide Cage, and it was shot on the Time Cop sets, but just before they tore them down. So great sets. But it was 2 years later when I woke up in the middle of the night realizing what the fix for that moment was, and thinking, oh God, why couldn't I have thought of that 2 years earlier? So that happens to all of us, one way or another. Anyway, that's about it for now. Just wanted to check in, and I'm here at Farmers Market, which is a world-famous, wonderful place in Los Angeles. I'm here rewriting Space Command because I take my brain with me wherever I go. And that's about it for now. But thanks for everything, and we'll talk soon. And it's Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi. If you want to talk about your favorite version of the idiot plot in TV, film, or books, you can comment. Please share, spread the word, subscribe, and we'll talk to you again really soon. Bye-bye.